So let's take a look at a problem now that seems very different than what we've seen so far, but actually is very deeply connected. So what I have is 2 points here, and I'm imagining that this is like Manhattan in New York. So this is the starting place, and this is the ending place. This is where I want to get to. Okay, and of course this is Manhattan, so you need to take a taxi. And what a taxi might do, well, a dishonest taxi might do something like this, right? And they'll figure out some way to make the fare really, really expensive. Okay, but let's assume that's not happening. Let's assume that we have an honest cabbie, and so they'll only get to B by moving in either this, I'm just going to call it the north direction, or this, the east direction. Okay, those are the only legal moves, right? And somehow we're going to have to get to position B. Okay, so let's see if we can figure out how many different ways there are to do that. Okay, so let's start by adding some notation to kind of have a framework. So P of xy is the number of ways, okay, the number of ways that we can get from coordinate xy to B. So for example, let's say that this is xy, right? And since I have a coordinate system, then I need to have an origin, and let's just pick this as my origin. And that means that B has to be 10, 4 because it's 10 steps east and 4 steps north. So anyway, so from here, how many ways can I get there, right? And let's see, I could go this way, or I could go this way, and so on, right? There seem to be lots of different ways, okay? So that's the function that we're trying to figure out. In fact, what we want is P of 0, 0, right? I mean, that's the answer to our problem, okay? So let's see, how can we compute that? Always try to find kind of smaller pieces, right? So here are two situations in which I actually know the answer. So one of them is when I am right here, anywhere along this level, okay? So let's say I'm there. So that's position x comma 4, okay? Right? It's, y is equal to 4, and I don't know what x is. Now, if I'm in that place, it's 4th Street, if you will. If I'm in that location, then there's actually only one way to get to B. I have to continue along this path, right? Because anything else I do is illegal. I can't go down, right, by the rules of the game. And if I go up, then I'm outside of the path between A and B, which means that, again, it's illegal because I would have to come back down to get to B, okay? So there's really only one way. I just have to keep following this street until I get to the end, okay? And by the way, this is just as good a time as any to tell you. If I'm, for example, here, right, then P of this point should actually be 0, right? Because according to the rules of our game, there's no way to get to B from there because we said you can only go up and across, or, north and east. All right, what else can we do? Well, we also know what happens if we're down this avenue, if you will, okay? So if I'm here, then the only legal move is simply to keep going north until you get to B. Okay, so for any of those points, the answer is 1. There's only one way to get to B. And again, if you're outside of the ranges, then the answer is 0, right? Because there's no legal way, only going north and east, that I could possibly get to B. So let's put all this together, okay? What I have is that for any other point, and let me go ahead and erase this so that I can make this case. For any other point, let's say that I'm here, okay? Then I can make one of two choices. I can either go east, okay, right? Or I can go north, okay? And once I'm here, right, then I figure out, well, how many ways can I get to her? Well, I'm staying with the same y coordinate, but x is 1. It's 1 more. So that's my answer. That's how many ways I can get to B if I start by going east. And over here is going to be x, y plus 1, right? That's how many ways I can get to B if I go north first, right? Now, because going east is different than going north, right? Those are two different paths. Then what I can do is I can just add those two, right? And that's the answer. That's how many ways can I get there. I just add all the ways that I can do it if I go east, plus all the ways that I can do it if I go north. Right? And if I'm outside of the range, then of course the answer is 0. Okay, so there it is, right? There's our answer. At least we have a nice recurrence relation for an answer. We have to solve the recurrence relation to actually be able to use it.